Welcome back, everybody. This is Question Mark again,
And I'm Ame again.
and we are looking at part two of the Spider-Man Commander tier list. We're reviewing every legendary creature in the new Spider-Man set and gauging how good we think they might be. And just to pick up kind of quickly, our next one on our list is Grendel, Spawn of Null. Whoa.
Huh. Literary reference. Neat.
Oh
That's
yeah.
literally all
Is,
I know
is
about
it
it.
Beowulf? Is that where
Yeah,
Grendel comes
Beowulf.
from?
Yeah, that's where Grendel comes from.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead.
Okay, we've got a 3/3 symbiote dragon villain for 3 and a black with flying and death touch.
Okay, so I mentioned in the previous video. In fact, I'm going to assume that you've all seen the first one before this one. That this symbol means that it's going to be in some introductory products, which means that they're going to be simpler cards on average, and they're going to have reminder text even for keywords that don't usually get it, like flying and death touch. That said, how good is this card? Well, as a commander, I mean, actually, okay, let's go through it. Vanilla test.
We're not passing the vanilla test today, but we've got some pretty good keywords, so I think it evens out.
Yeah, pretty much. The four pillars: card draw,
Nope.
ramp,
Nope.
removal.
There we go.
Death touch barely counts as removal. It will kill a creature bigger than it, in addition to just the one smaller than it that every creature will kill, but that's kind of a stretch. Your opponents usually have to kind of opt into death touch, so barely counts as removal. And then finisher, well, it's got evasion, it's got some power that's close to efficient, but I think it's, not very good at that. 3 is not a lot in a game where everybody has 40 life. So actually, it doesn't fit really any of the criteria, which means that it's not really a good commander. In the 99, when would you play a creature that has kind of French vanilla, text going on here? If you had some symbiote synergy, maybe you want this because you don't have hardly any flying. If you're playing dragons and you're playing black, maybe you're playing, is it Savitri that I'm thinking of? Yeah. Okay, here's
Wow.
here's a deep cut for you.
Darn, I wanted to see the other. Darn, I wasn't. I liked the other one better.
Oh, yeah, this is a classic magic art that is fairly popular and has a lot of butt in it. But she's a 7 mana 6/4 with no abilities. And she's just a human, so like what's this? It's a seahorse dragon? I don't know. Even the
What's
brave
that one word?
what, Scarzum?
No,
Savitri?
uh,
Kelpie? Selkie. I don't know.
it's what is it? Terodophiliacs?
Oh, I don't know. Somebody who's really into what, dragons or
Monsters in
horses?
general.
Monster. Okay, monster lover. Well, so this is the commander version of her that was printed a few years ago, which I always thought was cool, but she's specifically for a dragon deck in Dimir, and there aren't very many options for blue-black dragons that are worth a damn. But I think this might make the cut in a Savitri Dragon Master deck. Because you search for a dragon, you destroy all non-dragons, yada yada. And she's a cool commander, but that means that Grendel is better in the 99,
Much better in the 99.
but almost lame. In fact, you know what? No, I'm gonna put him down in lame because what are the odds that this is your like most hyped commander since 2022? And
Not great.
it probably doesn't make the cut in anything else. Maybe it goes in some villain decks, like maybe it'll go in the one where Doc Ock makes your villains bigger or something. It might be okay in that, but still, it's pretty lame. Which is too bad because Symbiote Dragon villain is incredible. I think there was a storyline where like the planet that Venom comes from had an invasion of Earth, and they like got wrapped up on all kinds of things, including like bones and other superheroes and stuff. It was like World War Venom or something.
I don't know.
And Grendel was the coolest one because it was a dragon. Now, Gwenum
Gwenum!
might
Oh
have
my
been from the
god, look
same
at that.
storyline. She is so popular ever since this card was spoiled a few days ago. Everybody is excited about her for one reason or another.
Let's see, we've got a 4/4 symbiote spider hero for 3 mana and 2 black with Death Touch and Lifelink. Whenever Gwenum attacks until end of turn, you may look at the top card of your library anytime, and you may play cards from the top of your library. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its mana value rather than pay the cost.
Yeah, so this
Oh yeah,
is.
that's...
I mean, okay, let me just say right up to the top. She is perhaps the most exciting commander in this set, in part because she's very good. She's also very cool. Oh, and there's an alternate art that looks like that,
Woo!
just kicking
Spooky.
right at you. And
With a little bit of entrails going on.
yeah, honestly, her anatomy is very scary. But that won't dissuade me. I'm not one to be.
You gooner.
There are. I have an open mind, we could say. She has Deathlink and Life Touch, which is good. But the main thing that's on the tip of everyone's tongue when they're talking about this card is that she is a Bolas's Citadel in the command zone. And Bolas's Citadel is a game changer on account of how good it is. But this costs 6 and is in the 99. This costs 5 and is in the command zone.
Ooh.
And can gain you life. The only real drawback here is that she has to attack. So she probably comes out and then does it next turn, unless you have like Lightning Greaves or something ready to go, which you'll probably play a few of those things.
Not surprising. That's stuff you expect to see.
But then the effect of being able to cast cards from the top of your library and just paying life for it instead of mana means that until you hit a land, you're going to be doing free spell, free spell, free spell, and then like pass the turn. And every turn you're going to be playing 1 to like 5 free spells in that they won't cost you mana, in addition to 1 or 2 spells that you do spend mana on, in addition to attacking with her and gaining some life. And there are enough ways of gaining life back in mono black that you can offset that. But this deck could go nuts.
And probably will. It's not that hard to make it go nuts.
Yeah, this is one of the most likely commanders that you are to be beaten by in the next month. Okay?
So get ready.
Prepare for this. Of course, if she doesn't have haste, then she's going to be sitting out there for a turn. Get her. Get her now before
Kill on
she gets
sight.
her ability. Yes,
Kill it with
she
fire.
is a kill on sight commander. So keep that in mind.
Okay.
Also, I'm slightly less excited about her because she doesn't narrow down what kind of deck to build. It's completely open-ended in terms of mono black.
I could see someone having a high cost, a high mana cost deck with her as the commander, because then they can get away with more stuff.
Well, you're going to run out of life that way, but if you only need like 2 spells in order to seal the deal, then maybe that'll do it.
Remember, the motto of Black is that the only life point that counts is the last one.
Yep, and was it glory at all costs? Anyway, Gwen Stacy is the character underneath a lot of this, who was so done dirty back in the 60s.
Well,
and up until like the 2010s or so.
I do take some exception to you saying that she was done dirty. I mean, she kind of was, but I'm going to paraphrase what one of my favorite culture critics says, and point out that, well, she didn't have any connections to supervillains. She wasn't inaccessibly hot. She was the girl next door, and her death was kind of a soft reboot. I mean, a soft replay of Uncle Ben. I mean, it's one thing to lose a parent figure, and it's another thing to realize, oh, I am never going to have a normal life, and this proves it.
So I remember when the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies were coming out, first off, MJ absolutely got the girl next door archetype on her, just as well, if not better. And it was a trivia thing that people would say, like, hey, did you know that MJ wasn't Peter Parker's first girlfriend, that actually he had a girlfriend named Gwen Stacy and she died, and then they had decades of romance with MJ. And then they started bringing back Gwen Stacy around the time of like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies.
She even showed up in Spider-Man 3, if I recall correctly, back when Peter was acting like a douche.
Yes, she was a reporter played by Bryce Dallas Howard.
And I was looking at her like, Ordor, I know her that.
Yeah,
But she lived.
They didn't get
amazingly
to that plot point. They originally planned on making a Spider-Man 4, but a bunch of stuff went wrong there. So with that all said, the magic card, what does she do?
Well, we've got a 2/1 human performer hero with 1 and a red. And when Gwen Stacy enters, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card for as long as you control this creature. And for 2 mana and blue, red, white, transform Gwen Stacy, activate only as sorcery.
That is just Sky Mana. Oh, and the flavor text real quick.
Spiders don't hold still given any other choice, and I have all the choices in the multiverse.
Turns into...
Ghost Spider! This is actually another fun... I mean, I wasn't actually quite done yapping about Gwen Stacy.
Well, you can continue to yap about Gwen Stacy.
I like that her resurrection as Ghost Spider because, we get some... I like her resurrection as Ghost Spider because I think that the concept is cool, and it lets Gwen Stacy be something other than, the lost Lenore, the dead girl.
Yeah, the fridged girlfriend to advance the character development of the main
she wasn't
character.
fridged.
Well...
Kind of.
I mean, okay, not literally fridged, but it's the female character, or the female love interest that dies in order to advance the character development of the male protagonist, and that fits a lot of the criteria of fridging and is kind of overdone and tired.
Well, one key point I think of fridging is that their death is already it's I don't know, to me one part of fridging is the killed off screen aspect of it, and that did not happen with Gwen. It was, she's dropped by the Green Goblin. Spider-Man goes to catch her. Oh no, physics exists for this one moment.
Also, one other thing about fridging is like the element of it being particularly gruesome compared to what's normally shown in that medium. That finding the girlfriend in the fridge is particularly gruesome, genuinely, and having Gwen Stacy's
the girl doesn't
back
get
break-
to fight. The girl doesn't get to fight. The girl doesn't get any of that.
And having Gwen Stacy's backbreak was particularly gruesome compared to what you normally see
It was
in
her
Spider-Man
neck.
comics at the time. Her neck?
Yeah, it was her neck.
Okay.
And I would actually argue that that's oddly mundane.
Okay.
She wasn't stabbed through the stomach or something. There wasn't a lot of blood to it. It's just her neck snapped. People are frail.
So, if you haven't learned by now, we are yappers. We could go on about this stuff all day, but we can't be here all day. So, what's the rest of what her Gwen Stacy or Ghost Spider card does?
Feel free to continue our argument in the comments, though. We would love to read that.
Absolutely. It's on our mind.
Okay, so we've got a 4/4 spider human hero with, for 2 mana, a blue, a red, and a white. We've got flying with vigilance and haste. Whenever you play a land from exile or cast a spell from exile, put a 1/1 counter on Ghost Spider. Remove 2 counters from Ghost Spider to exile the top card of your library, and then you can play it this turn.
Okay, so usually when you have like a kind of a theme of like playing things from exile, you have an enabler and a payoff, and they are different cards because you'll have the enabler like in the command zone or the payoff in the command zone or something like that, and then you'll have to fill your deck with the other pieces. She is the enabler in the form of the remove 2 counters to exile something, and the payoff in the form of you play anything from exile and she gets counters. Which is kind of crazy. She doesn't pass the vanilla test, but flying, vigilance, and haste really makes up for colorless mana.
Yeah.
And you have the option of playing her early and then flipping her over, or playing her a little later. I don't think that this side is particularly good in that just like exiling a card, you do get to play it for as long as you control this creature. That's what makes it worth it. And that it still counts as controlling this creature as long as she remains on the battlefield. When she transforms, she is still the same creature, still on the battlefield.
Oh, good. good. That's a good thing to know.
Exactly. So I don't think that Gwen Stacy is that good on her own, but as long as you get Ghost Spider at some point, she becomes great.
I do like, I will say about this costume, I kind of like it better when the shoes are like ballet shoes with the straps and everything, because otherwise I just worry about her little slip ons flying off.
Oh, these?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta agree. And I think that she's competing a little
That's just a
bit
quibble,
though
though.
with the headliner commander for playing things from exile, which is Prosper. He's a 4 mana 1/4 death touch, and you exile something every turn. You can play it, and when you play a card from exile, you create a treasure. So you cannot play Gwen Stacy in a Prosper deck. You cannot play Prosper in a Gwen Stacy deck. So they are separate. Prosper is arguably better because he makes treasures, and treasures are ramp, and that's great. Her payoff is making herself a little bigger, which is not that crazy, but it just, I think, gives you a good like engine for card draw and for buffing that you can build anything you want in the 99 to support. Other equipment, you can just play a Just Got Good Stuff deck, whatever. So I want to put her in exciting, but somewhere around like actually maybe the bottom of exciting, because she doesn't give me much of an interesting deck to build for her, but she's quite good.
All right. Who's
So
next?
we're finally
Hey,
on
look,
to
it's the Hobgoblin.
Hobgoblin, Mantled Marauder.
I'm actually more familiar with this character than with. I actually was introduced to this character well before I knew that the Green Goblin was a thing.
Oh, yeah, that happens for some people, different eras and everything.
All right, we've got a 1/2 Goblin Human Villain for 1 and a red with Flying and Haste. Whenever you discard a card, Hobgoblin gets +2/+0 until end of turn.
Boy, not a lot going on here.
No, not really.
One thing you will note is that he does have the goblin creature type, like the Green Goblin has in both his other forms, even though, like, Dr. Octopus didn't have octopus as his type. He does have goblin, and that's because he is genetically modified.
Yeah.
Both Harry and especially Norman have their genes modified, and the way that they are modified is to be a goblin, I guess. So, good for magic. However, how good is this as a commander? So it gives you a payoff for discarding cards, which is one of the major mechanics in these colors, but you're stuck being mono red, and the payoff is a little bit of extra power on your evasive, hasty guy. He doesn't provide any of the 4 pillars. He fails the vanilla test.
I'd rather put this guy into a Green Goblin deck than have him be a commander.
100%. And actually, both of the Green Goblin decks would be better commanders with him in the 99, because one cares more about the mayhem that would be good for him, and the other one actually cares about the goblin creature type that would be good for him.
So, yeah.
And very few goblins fly. So I'm tempted to say that this guy is lame, but I think that just purely on the merit of very few goblins fly, he gets better in the 99.
But don't let it go to your head.
Yeah, you actually have a small chance you might play him in a typical goblin deck as long as you have some discard going on. But what's the gem palm guy? It just should be one card to look up. The gem palm guy. I spelled it wrong.
Gem Pamel.
Yeah, gem palm.
Gem Pamela.
Incinerator. I think this is a good goblin card that a lot of people neglect. Can you read this one for us?
Let's see. Cycling for 1 and a red. And when you cycle Gem Palm Incinerator, you may have it deal X damage to target creature, where X is the number of goblins on the battlefield.
So a 3-mana 2/1 is bad, but cycling for 2 mana is actually kind of good in mono red because you'll draw a card and you get to deal some damage to a creature. This could potentially be a lot of damage if you already have a handful of goblins going on. And critically, cycling, this ability is not a spell, so your opponent can't counter it unless they have like a counter ability kind of thing going on. So I think Gem Palm Incinerator is a much overlooked removal spell in goblin decks, and Hobgoblin Mantled Marauder would love it. So moving on to
Hydro Man.
one of the weirdest
I was today years old when I discovered this one.
He was in one of the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. I think it was Far From Home, the one with Mysterio.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I don't remember.
Except you don't really see him as a person in that movie because he would honestly look really silly to have like this T-shirt, just be a guy like, "Rah!"
Doesn't he know that being shirtless is the go-to uniform for people with water powers?
Yeah, it looks way cooler when you're shirtless.
Honestly, he looks
Also,
like palette swapped Sandman.
yes, he very much does. And if I remember right, in Spider-Man: Far From Home, mild spoiler that he's kind of like an illusion. So that's also why they didn't have him be like a guy. Anyway, what does he do?
Let's see, we've got a 2/2 elemental villain for 2 blue, and whenever you cast a blue spell, if Hydro Man is a creature, he gets +1/+1 until end of turn. At the beginning of your end step, untap Hydro Man. Until his next turn, he becomes a land and gains tap add blue, and he's not a creature during that time.
Okay, vanilla test
Pass.
passes. Okay. Is he ramp? Well, kind of. He turns into a land on other people's turns. So yeah, actually, he provides blue mana on other people's turns. And he has a built-in way of buffing when you cast blue spells, so he actually isn't just mono blue, he cares about mono blue. Is this guy good? I don't think so.
I
But
question that.
what?
I question that.
There's something about this, like untap him and turn him into a land at the end of your turn thing. There could be something that I would need to do some real deep diving in order to find some synergies with, where you can like untap multiple times, or I don't know. This guy's tricky. I I'm not gonna call him lame. I'm gonna put him at the bottom of solid commander because
He seems like he could be really good, but also really tricky, like past the point where he can be put into exciting.
yeah, in fact, I'm tempted to create a new category in between these two and call it Enigma or something. Cuz this guy might be good. I don't know. He's almost unique enough to be exciting, but the payoffs aren't very good because he doesn't get a +1/+1 counter, so it's not a permanent buff or
Right,
anything.
it's just till end of turn.
And ramping one blue is not terribly exciting, but I don't know. There could be something there. So just keep if you look at the fluid felon here and you're like, I think that's cool actually. You know what? Maybe dig in and see if you can figure something out. You could have a really unique deck. I don't know if it'll be strong. Then we've got Iron
Iron
Spider.
Spider, Stark upgrade.
This happened during the Civil War comic arc, and I collected like all of those, so I was really into it at this time.
Do you want to tell us a little about this character? This iteration of the character?
Yeah, so this is when the Civil War happened, where it was like Tony Stark versus Steve Jobs. Steve
Rogers!
Rogers. Iron Man versus Captain America. And the Captain America side was about basically keeping your secret identities. And the Tony Stark side was about revealing your secret identities to have more transparency. And Tony did it maybe
There are
partially because
merits.
of guilt, that he feels bad about. But he's always been more open about what he's doing than other heroes because he has a confidence issue.
And also
Overconfidence.
because he's friggin' rich, so what are people gonna actually do to him anyway?
And yet he somehow convinces Peter Parker to join his side by telling him that no, this is the honorable thing to do. This is the brave thing to do, is to reveal yourself. And
Which makes
Spider-Man
sense, because
unmasks himself for the first time in canon publicly. And the whole world finds out that Peter Parker has been Spider-Man for all this time.
this actually makes sense. I mean, I don't know about the whole unmasking thing, but being convinced by Iron Man does make sense to me because Spider-Man's whole motivation is guilt.
Yeah, and that he's trying to do the right thing, and it's so hard because he's pulled in so many directions at the same time. And he's told for the first time that he will have Tony Stark and everyone involved in this initiative having his back. That they will provide him security for his family and friends, that they are providing him new gear, like this spider outfit with the extra arms, which is super high tech. So they're like, we will help you. You don't have to do this alone anymore. And he likes the idea. He wants it to be true. Reveals himself. J. Jonah Jameson has a heart attack. I think literally. Uh, and like immediately Aunt May gets kidnapped. Like
Like I said, it makes sense for Spider-Man to go to Tony Stark's side, but given that he and his loved ones are not protected the way Iron Man's are, it also makes perfect sense for Spider-Man to get squished, to be the first one to get squished by this.
it was an interesting storyline, and of
Good way
course
to
it
outline
also
the nuances of the situation, come to think of it.
and it also plays out a lot in the Avengers Infinity War movies, where he gets this suit as well, and it's just really cool to see it in action.
It is.
So anyway, I love that we have a very different Spider-Man here with legendary artifact creature Spider Hero, and it's colorless no less. But what does he do?
This art is gorgeous. I love it.
Is.
We got a 2/3 Spider Hero for 3 mana. It has Vigilance, and you tap it to put a 1/1 counter on each artifact, creature, and or vehicle you control.
Neat.
And for 2 mana, you can remove 2 1/1 counters from among artifacts you control, and then draw a card.
That is really powerful when you consider that you're putting a counter on each artifact, creature, or vehicle. You can get a lot of counters and really build up to drawing cards quickly. And it doesn't limit you on how many cards you draw. So if you had like 6 artifact creatures, you could draw 3 cards off of it. I mean, it does cost you mana to do that, but you can do it at instant speed. You can do it at the end of people's turns. This is actually a really good colorless commander.
Yeah, a lot of colorless stuff is all about the artifact creatures and the vehicles and stuff. So there's a lot of opportunity.
It compares really well to Steel Overseer, which is the other creature that usually does this. 2 mana, taps to put a +1/+1 counter on each artifact creature you control. So you 100% put this guy in the deck just to double up on the effect. But for 1 more mana, it's a bigger creature, has Vigilance, and a payoff for all those counters, and even benefits your vehicles?
Yeah.
I don't know why, but sure. It's just even a little bit better. So, I will go so far as to say I think this one's exciting. And maybe up around here, in that you can probably build some decks that you haven't seen before. Have you personally tried to build an all colorless deck before? It's tricky, but it works. You're just a little bit stuck on like the support spells, like your instants and sorceries. Oof, not a lot to choose from there. Then we have this guy I don't recognize.
It reminds me of that one Yu-Gi-Oh card. What's it called? Dark Imp, I think. Can we look it up real quick?
Oh my, let's see. Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Imp?
Yeah. Yeah, that guy.
That guy? Oh, Feral Imp. Okay.
Feral Imp, thank you.
Huh. All right, well.
I see a resemblance.
There very much is. You know? Okay. Well,
They're green, they've got the ears and the claws.
and why does he have a little bust of Spider-Man, I wonder?
I don't know anything about this
And he's
character.
Professor Miles Warren. I'm honestly a little bit upset that half of Spider-Man's villains are scientists. Like, what did these people have against scientists?
I don't know, same as Gotham City, I guess. Consider how many of them are scientists.
Almost as many, but been around for almost twice as long. So anyway, what does he do?
Well, darn, I had a rant going. I was about to start a rant.
But we've got so many to go through, though.
Okay, focus
He's
in,
not
focus
worth
in.
it.
All right. 1/1 human scientist villain for green and blue, so them Simic colors, which is great for mad science.
Yes.
With Trample, whenever you cast a creature spell with mana value equal to Jackal's power, copy that spell, except the copy isn't legendary, and then put a 1/1 counter on Jackal.
Okay, so this is wild. First off, I always think it's funny when we have a 1/1 with Trample. That's a great punchline to me.
Yep.
But, of course, he grows. And being only 2 mana is a really affordable cost for it. Of course, if he does die and you have to recast him, well, he doesn't cost that much mana to get back out. It does involve starting over on his, like, counters thing. But you also copy the creature spells that you cast. So here's the weird thing, though. The frustrating thing is that you have to. Well, he's a 1/1. You have to cast a 1 mana spell in order to copy it and get him bigger. Then he's a 2/2. You have to cast a 2 mana creature spell in order for him to copy it and make him better. So what do you fill your deck with?
Stuff that gives him counters, so that you can copy more, so that you can copy bigger stuff.
So the problem is that what I guess you just do a curve, right? You do 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s and 5s. Or maybe there's a certain number that you're trying to get him to, like 7, so that you can drop an Avenger of Zendikar and a copy of Avenger of Zendikar or something. Honestly, it seems like a stretch, and it seems like he's either not doing much of anything for like 4 turns, or you're gonna frequently end up with a 1 mana spell when he's too tough, 2 power, and it's just gonna lead to lots and lots of non-bows, I'm afraid. So I'm concerned that this guy might be lame. I don't even think he's better in the 99. You want to try to build around it, but his mechanic is too shifty because it moves. There's no one target for what you build around. You can care about possible encounters going on him, that's fine, but I think that he's got a lot of competition in just that, and triggering him is going to be tricky. So I don't think he's very good.
All right,
Jonah
here's a fun
Jameson. God, what is there to say about J. Jonah Jameson?
J.K. Simmons is the best one. Fight me.
Absolutely. J.K. Simmons is amazing. So good.
That was a cartoon character come to life, okay?
Yeah!
That was perfect.
So good even that they crossed like the Spider-Verse in order to have him be J. Jonah Jameson even in the MCU.
Yeah.
And now he's more of a like Alex Jones character, which honestly I think is a good update. It makes sense for him.
It is a good update, but I also do have a soft spot in my heart for classic J. Jonah Jameson, who isn't quite that far gone.
Yeah, where every
there
once
is
in
something
a while,
good in him that you see every now and then. I mean, like that scene in the first Spider-Man movie where Green Goblin breaks down the wall, grabs JJJ by the ankle and says, "Who's giving you those pictures?" He says, "I don't know." And he doesn't even... And
he
Jameson
lies straight to his face, to a
doesn't
supervillain.
miss a beat to protect Peter.
Who would and could kill him.
And does not care. Just, I don't know who it is. It's some guy who does a... Just, I like it when I
sent
can...
in the mail, anonymously.
I like it when I can have some respect for J. Jonah Jameson, even though the Alex Jones update is a good update to the character. And, multiple things can be true, multiple interpretations can exist, and they can both be fine.
So, let's read the card.
Okay, we've got a 2/2 human citizen for 2 mana and a red. When JJJ enters, a suspect up to 1 target creature. A suspected creature has menace and can't block. Oh my god, he can call people menaces.
Yes!
Whenever a creature you control with menace attacks, create a treasure token. The photos are all garbage, Parker. I'll buy them all.
Yeah. So, they knew that when they were making a J. Jonah Jameson card, they had to use the word menace on it in some way, and this becomes the menace deck. On the one hand, you could say, oh, this is a commander who has an enters trigger, it happens 1 time, and then you don't have ways of making other creatures have menace and stuff. But no, you just fill your deck with creatures that have menace. Hell, you can suspect J. Jonah Jameson himself to give himself menace if you really want to.
If you like the irony.
And then it doesn't say whenever 1 or more creatures you control with menace attacks. It says whenever 1 attacks, whenever any attacks. So if you have multiple creatures with menace, it will get you multiple treasures. They don't enter tapped, they enter untapped. This guy has a lot of things going for him. Lastly, you can suspect an opponent's creature so that it can't block. If they had a really good blocker...
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
You were declared a public menace and now you can't block, or else the eye of the media will come upon you.
I think that this theme could do to be a little deeper. You might find some good stuff back in Murders at Karlov Manor that will care about suspecting. But in most cases, I'm thinking that this is going to be a red go-wide menace deck that makes lots of treasures. I'd say don't forget to include lots of card draw so you have lots of things to spend those treasures on. And this is going to be a pretty low-to-the-ground, aggressive deck filled with, I don't know, goblins, devils, stuff like that. All things that Jonah will hate.
I gotta see his alternate art, okay? Oh my god, I love it so much! Old man yells at
come back, you menace.
Old man yells at Cloud.
Yeah.
Oh my god. There has to be a Photoshop out there where he's just flipping the bird to Spider-Man, right?
Oh yeah, there's gotta
That
be.
would be funny.
Also, I forgot to show. There's this.
Yo!
I guess the spider suit, the Iron Spider suit, was given to MJ at one point, and she wore it for a bit. And God, ooh, that.
Woman,
I'll be in
put
my
the
bunk.
mask on!
Oh yeah, well, I guess too late for that. All right, so let's go on to the first Craven, Proud Predator.
I once knew someone who had this as their chosen name, and I do not freaking get it.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't love that this guy is chosen as his name, a synonym for coward,
Yep.
when he's supposed to be so, like, strong and brave and manly and everything.
I think it's supposed to be ironic.
I mean, I think Craven with a K, I think it's supposed to mean something else, but maybe it's ironic, like naming a big guy Tiny or something. I don't know.
Naming the guy who pretends to be all brave, cowardice.
I don't know. Also, I just noticed, is that a Spider-Man suit on his spear?
I think it is.
I think it is. Well, let's read the card.
All right, we've got a star 4 human warrior villain for 1 red and a green. He's got vigilance, and he's top of the food chain. Craven's power is equal to the greatest mana value among permanents you control. So he's a follower, not a leader.
So he has keyword big, but only in the front, not in the back, which is okay. I mean, that means that he can deal a lot of damage to an opponent. You can possibly go the silver bullet thing and try to kill someone with commander damage pretty quickly. And he's in good colors for equipment and auras and stuff, giving him trample, haste, menace, whatever else that would be good for him, ward maybe. But he is missing so many of those things. And he's missing all the pillars.
I hate this guy. He looks like he looks like he has a podcast.
Yeah, he looks like his favorite artist is like Cat Stevens, or Ted Nugent. That's who I'm thinking of. Ted Nugent, you know?
Oh dear.
Performs at the RNC, stuff like that. And because he's an uncommon, there's
This
no
guy calls
alternate art
himself an
form.
alpha male, and I bet his fans are the same way.
Oh yeah, and he actually has more cred to saying that than anyone else, considering look at
That's
this
a freaking
burly
tiger.
tiger and this burly
That's a
lion.
freaking
and everything.
lion.
And
It's like,
what's-
okay.
Oh yeah, that's the tiger's tail.
When you put it like that, yeah, I guess he does deserve the title more than most, but it's still not exactly a compliment.
And having power equal to the
like
greatest
this
mana
guy.
value among permanents you control is pretty neat. One way that you can cheat that is that you can find creatures that have, like, I don't know, affinity or delve or anything like that you don't have to pay the whole mana cost. The main one that I'm thinking of is Galta. I think that's how you spell it. This one. Can you read this card for us?
This spell costs X less to cast, where X is the total power of creatures you control.
So
That's a hefty discount.
oh yeah, a 12/12 trampler for 12, except you never pay 12. If you have any creatures on the battlefield, it's less than 12, and it doesn't say the highest power among creatures you control, it's the total power. So if you have 10 total power, then he costs 2 green.
Get a bunch of little guys.
And then Craven's power becomes 12 for as little as 2 green mana, potentially. So that's one of the strongest plays you can do with him, and it's still not enough.
Sorry if this is your favorite character. He just don't impress.
Oh.
He just don't impress me much.
Jameson, by the way, forgot to place him. I'm excited for him.
Yay!
Craven, though, is he even better in the 99? No, I think he's lame. I think he's down here.
Oh, jeez, and we're gonna have to do another one.
Another Craven. I think this is the good one, maybe? Let's see.
All right, we've got a 4/3 human warrior villain for 1, a black and a green with trample. Whenever a creature or an opponent controls with the greatest power among creatures that player controls dies, bleh, that's a sentence, draw a card and put a 1/1 counter on Craven the Hunter.
Oh, yeah. This is the good one. First off, passes the vanilla test.
Yep.
With bonuses. Trample is something really important on creatures that just do the whole keyword big thing, but he doesn't just do the whole keyword big thing. He draws you cards. Whenever the biggest creature your opponent controls dies, that is excellent. The biggest creature your opponent controls is likely the hardest one to kill, unless you're in black, where 90% of your removal says, like, target creature dies no matter how big it is. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. So this deck could be, I mean, honestly kind of brutal. That you just look around at the table and you're like, you, with the dinosaur, go for the throat. Now then, draw a card and smack you for a bunch. And just do that over and over again. He's cheap enough that you could easily recast him, and you got benefit while you were doing all that from the removal spells that you were using. This deck is going to be full of removal, and you can be playing green-black control, and then just use this guy as your finisher and your card advantage at the same time. This is really good. Craven is going up like here. Actually, he's probably better than most of these. He's probably up here. Yeah. I honestly might play this just because I'm pretty good at control that actually interacts with the board. I'm pretty good at like, oh, and there's an extended art version of it. That's nice.
Yeah, suit yourself. I'd rather see Tarzan beat this guy up.
Sure. Okay, then we have a pleasant surprise for you. Lady Octopus.
Yes!
Yeah, we do have her in here. So, what does she do, though?
Well, let's see. We've got a 0/2 human scientist villain for 1 mana.
Yeah, only one.
And whenever you draw your first or second card each turn, put an ingenuity counter on Lady Octopus.
Interesting.
Then you can tap her, nice, to cast an artifact spell from your hand with mana value less than or equal to the number of ingenuity counters on Lady Octopus without paying the mana cost. All right, so she's getting you a discount on them artifact spells.
Not just a discount, she's getting you one for free as long as you've drawn some cards.
And you probably have drawn some cards.
So your deck is just all artifacts and card draw. And you know how, like, I think that this might facilitate the most Timmy artifact deck that you've seen. Because I've seen people playing, like, what is it? Dark Steel,
Splicer?
Shoot. No, not Splicer. There's some, I mean, Darksteel Colossus, sure, but Darksteel Forge would be an example.
Ooh.
9 mana,
Ooh.
artifacts you control of indestructible.
Oh!
Honestly, this card I don't think is that great in the year of our Lord 2025 with how much exile is around that people play against artifacts in particular, and certainly not for 9 frickin' mana considering it originally came out in 2004. But because it's been printed so rarely and it is so desired by people who are like, what if I have infinity billion mana? It's still very expensive. But with Lady Octopus, you draw a card, you get her a counter. You draw another card, you get her a counter. Does it say whenever you draw your first card or second card on your turn? No.
On each turn.
It counts if it happens on your opponent's turns. I wonder, is Rhystic Study a popular card?
Yes.
Does it draw cards on other people's turns?
Oh my.
Yeah, so, I mean, you'll play Mystic Remora. You'll play some of the most degenerate, like, blue card draw effects that just do it repeatedly. Instant speed ones. You'll play Opt. Just Opt. Oh, come on. Where is it?
Optimus.
Wait. There. You'll play Opt. Scry 1, draw a card. Bing!
Neat.
There's another ingenuity counter. You can do it on your opponent's turn. You could be playing any number of things that draw you cards on your turn. Don't play too many of them because you only count the first 2. She's going to rack up ingenuity counters quick. She'll come out on turn 1 every game. Every game.
I'm slightly annoyed we're not just calling her Doc Ock, inspired inventor.
Oh, well, maybe it's a comic book thing. Maybe that's what she goes by in the comics. But regardless, she's going to get ingenuity counters quick. So she'll be able to ramp faster than you could ever hope to ramp with ramping. And then you can actually drop your big old 9 mana artifacts. There's another one that I'm thinking of. This is what I'm thinking of. Check this out.
Let's see, 8 mana, indestructible. Once each turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for a colorless spell you cast from your hand.
Yep, just
Oh boy.
a free spell every turn. Oh, and your opponent's turns as well. It has to be a colorless spell, but you're going to be playing a whole lot of colorless spells in here. Yeah, and I thought at first when I was reading this, it'd be like, oh, you may spend ingenuity counters to get a free artifact. No,
Nope.
no, you just get the free artifact. Holy crap! Also,
She is going to pull some nonsense in your deck.
I'm gonna do one last thing here because people may not be thinking of the One Ring in regards to her. But you can't usually cheat the One Ring for its main ability because it says if you cast it. You may cast an artifact, blah, 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 without paying its mana cost. So you can literally drop the One Ring and still get the protection effect off of Lady Octopus. She's incredible. So...
Can I just say, I also love that little teacup she's got.
Yeah! It's so fun. Okay. And she is actually using her tentacles for the intended purpose, science.
Multitasking.
Yeah. So, I think she's great.
Live, actually. My enemies call me Doc Ock. I love that. God, I love that line so much. I love that movie so much, but that line in particular.
Then we've got friggin' Living Brain Mechanical Marvel.
I know nothing about this thing.
I think this guy was in, like, the pilot of the 60s Spider-Man cartoon show. I believe J. Jonah Jameson paid somebody to build a machine to go kill Spider-Man.
Yeah,
and
that's
this
how
is what they
Scorpion
came up
happened,
with
too.
in the 60s. It didn't do great.
Understandably.
But go ahead.
We've got a 3/3 robot villain for 4 mana, so we're not passing the vanilla test today. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target non-equipment artifact you control becomes an artifact creature with base power and toughness 3/3 until end of turn. Untap it.
Okay. Turning one artifact per turn into a 3/3 and untapping it is actually not that bad.
But it's
Especially if
only
that
until
artifact's
end of turn, so you're only doing that. You've only got.
Well,
Not building a robot army, or just have an extra robot buddy, I guess.
yeah, you can bop with it, or if it's a Soul Ring, then you just get 2 extra mana. If it's Thran Dynamo, you get 3 extra mana. If it's the One Ring, then you can tap it to draw extra cards. There are certainly some benefits here. This might be a good enough commander just in the sense of you untap an artifact every turn.
There's that.
But it's still not that great. So maybe it's better in the 99 actually, because it's basically just untapping an artifact every turn. So I'm a little bit torn, but I'm gonna drop him there, I think, because I think it's easy to like look at him and overestimate him, but also easy to underestimate him. I think there's some estimating going on in the middle there that's maybe acceptable.
Here we go. Lizard. Here's one I know.
Okay. And he is a lizard because, yeah, his genes were modified.
Oh, yeah. He was trying to grow back a limb the way that lizards grow back their tails.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
But something went wrong.
Indeed. With the lizard formula, I guess.
All right. We've got a 5/5 lizard villain for 2 and 2 green. We've got Trample, lizard formula. When Lizard Connor's Curse enters, up to one other target creature loses all abilities and becomes a green lizard creature with base power and toughness 4/4.
Vanilla test.
Passed?
Yes. He exceeds it. A 4-mana 5/5 with Trample. And, okay, this is the weird thing. He enters, and another creature becomes a lizard. So I don't love it when a commander has an enters trigger that, and that's it, really, because it just does the thing once, and I want my commanders to, like, continue to do things, unless that one thing is really bombastic. And making a creature lose all abilities and become a 4/4 lizard is not that bombastic. You could do it to your opponent's commander and turn, like, Krenko or Kiki Jiki or Turgrid into a 4/4 lizard with no abilities.
That'd be pretty funny.
That would be pretty funny. Or you could take your own creature that's like a Birds of Paradise or a Ornithopter or something and turn it into a 4/4 lizard. But that's not that great. And then he doesn't like grow or tell you to build a lizard deck or anything. So I actually think this guy
I'd
is.
put him in the 99.
But then what is he good for in the 99? I guess he's just good as a green way of stopping a commander. But I'm reminded of like Song of. I think it's Frail. No, Song of the Dryads. This is just better. 3 mana, enchanted permanent is a colorless forest land. Put that on your opponent's commander. Good luck.
The one coming to my mind, yeah, that's probably the best one. There's also Sugarcoat.
Yeah, that's not in green, but it is the same kind of vein where you turn your opponent's commander into a food. There's a lot of pretty rude things that you can do to an opponent's commander.
It's always
Worse
funny
than
when you mess with them
destroying
like
or
that.
exiling it or bouncing it is to get it stuck on the battlefield not working.
That is funny. I don't get tired of that
But
one.
lizard's not one of the better ways of doing it, honestly.
No, plus then they still have a 4/4 creature, which is, it's not the most powerful thing, but it's, quite good. So it's.
It's unfortunate because you take off this, and it's a solid creature, just like draft fodder, or if you have a lizard or villain theme. But the lizards are like the lizard kindred decks are red black. The villain kindred decks are red black or blue black. So he's just like an odd man out with no synergies really. I think that puts him in lame, which is unfortunate because
Sorry, buddy.
he's kind of strong, but he doesn't really have like a deck to go with as far as I can tell. Now, this is a character I think neither of us know.
I think she's an assistant to Spider-Man 2099?
Perhaps. Also, okay, there's a fun fact. They forgot the word R in Legendary, so she's a Legendary.
Legendary!
All right. Well, why don't you read her?
All right, we've got a 2/2 Illusion Advisor for 3 mana and a blue. And whenever you draw a card, put a 1/1 counter on target creature.
So, being from the set with the spider there, the Spider-Man Eternal set, it is a simpler card, but I don't think it's very good.
Functional.
Yeah, I mean, so this is a payoff for card draw of getting +1/+1 counters. I think if you have a deck that's already really good at getting at drawing cards, getting +1/+1 counters is a good payoff, but vanilla test she fails utterly. She doesn't actually do the drawing of cards. She doesn't do removal, finish, or anything like that.
And also, why is that person she's standing next to look... What is with their eyes? Why do they look evil?
Or they look like come hither eyes. Is she Marilyn Monroe?
No, I mean, not
not
her. I mean the
Monroe.
person she's standing next to.
Oh, is that...
What is going on here? Is that Vampire Spider-Man?
Wait a second. You might be right. He's
Oh
got
my God,
fangs
those are
and red
fangs.
eyes.
Vampire
Is that
Spider-Man?
Morbius? I believe there is a vampire spider or two in this set. But Lila, I can't even say she's better in the 99. If you put her in the 99, you're probably making a mistake. I think she's lame.
Oof.
Yeah. Then we have Madame Web, whose movie bombed not too long ago, like last year, I think.
I didn't see it.
Nobody did. And actually, the people who did said that it was bad. So that's unfortunate. In fact, I think it killed the, like, Sony Spider-Verse thing that they were doing with Venom and Morbius and all that, as if Morbius didn't kill it. Madame Web apparently killed it.
I think that Morbius was memed enough that it kind of squeaked through, but...
They put it back in theaters because it was popular as a meme, and still nobody sold tickets. Nobody bought tickets. I mean,
And now it's a meme.
yep. Well, Madame Web Clairvoyant, what does she do?
Well, we've got a 4/4 Mutant Advisor for 4 mana and 2 blue. We're not passing the vanilla test today.
Nope.
You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast spider spells and non-creature spells from the top of your library. Bit limiting, but okay. And whenever you attack, you may mill a card.
I think this card's actually really good. In large part because I was thrown off for a second. You may cast spider spells. Oh no, this is gonna suck. And non-creature spells. Oh, non-creature spells happens to be most spells. This gives you every instant sorcery, enchantment, artifact that is on top of your library, the ability to be played over and over again. And when you attack, you may mill a card. So if you get stuck with a spell on top of your library that you can't play, you can attack with one of your like evasive blue creatures, mill that card, and then do something else. You may mill a card, so it's even optional. You don't have to mill yourself. This has potential to be better than card draw. And it will allow you to play some of the weirdo blue spiders that are in your deck. There aren't that many. I think this one is actually a solid commander. Probably better than Hydro Man. I don't think she's better in the 99. I think that if she's your commander, you can build around the idea of just playing things from the top of your library over and over and over again for cheap. So there's some real potential here. In fact, I think that she competes with the reality chip. Reality chip. And I think there's some other creature, some other card that's very similar to it. There's another jellyfish, I think. But the reality chip is blah, blah, blah. You can look at the top card of your library and you can play those cards. So she's the same thing. It's a lot more mana, but reality chip has to be equipped to something. So I think she's not bad.
Okay.
Mary Jane Watson. Just a gal about town.
Sure. That's why everybody is gawking at how hot she is.
Well, she's a performer because she's an actress.
She's a model.
I think she's been one and the other at different times.
I think it depends on the continuity.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've got a 2/2 human performer for 1 and a green or white.
Hybrid.
And whenever a spider you control enters, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn.
Well, straight into better in the 99.
What more need be said?
Yeah, card draw is one of the pillars. You want that. But then how many spiders are you going to be playing in your deck? Could be quite a few. It'd be nice to have that as a reliable thing. Oh, you can only draw one per turn, and that's all she does. I can definitely see people building a green-white spider deck. But Mary Jane, I think, goes in the 99. I think there's still one or two better commanders coming up for that do a lot more. So, Miles
Miles Morales!
Honestly, I'm so happy that like Miles got to be a thing, because I knew about Miles since like the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy-ish. And I was like, oh, I wonder if we're ever going to get Miles in the movies. And then we finally did, and it was great.
Yes, it was. That movie made me cry like 3 different times.
And it's a freaking work of art. It's
You're never going to mistake it for another movie.
It advanced the field of CG animation movies more than any movie since Toy Story did it in the first place at all. It really took everything to the next level. So, with that said, what does he do?
Well, we've got a 1/2 human citizen hero for 1 and a green. We're not passing the vanilla test, but it's close. When Miles Morales enters, put a 1/1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. Okay.
So actually, he can pass the vanilla test after he puts a counter on himself. But you can put 2 counters, across different creatures. So you can do it how you want.
And for 3 mana, a red, a green, and a white, you can transform him, only as a sorcery. And on the other side, we got the Ultimate Spider-Man.
That's the comic that premiered him, Ultimate Spider-Man, in the 2000s.
We got a 4/3 human spider hero for 3 mana, red, green, and white, with first strike and haste. And our ability is Camouflage. For 2 mana, put a 1/1 counter on Ultimate Spider-Man. He gains hexproof and becomes colorless until end of turn. Oh, invisibility.
The color list is sending me because he's like clear,
Yep. Whenever you attack, double the number of each kind of counter on each spider and legendary you control.
That ability killed me. I was just looking at that
And
going
it will
like,
kill your opponents, too.
that's pretty good. The first strike, the haste, the ability to gain hexproof at instant speed for 2 colorless and buff him a little bit at the same time. That's all pretty great. And then he leaves like a slam jammer for the ending of double the number of each kind of counter on each spider and legendary creature you control.
Wait, doesn't becoming colorless mean that he can bypass swords?
Oh yeah, yeah. So if your
Oh,
opponent
yeah.
has a sword of feast and famine, you can pay 2 mana to make him colorless so that he can block it, regardless of which sword he's wearing. And yeah, there's just a lot good going on here. And just like with Gwen Stacy, the front side, not that good, but it does a little bit of something that sets up what he does really good on the back. It puts a counter on probably him and another creature, and then you flip him and you attack with him and you start increasing those counters, and it's this multiplicative returns thing.
I think this guy needs to go into exciting.
Absolutely, absolutely. Way up here somewhere. Maybe around like here, maybe even higher, honestly. I don't know. Depends on who you are. He's very exciting. For me, actually, I kind of like the gameplay of Craven, like, in part because I think that a lesson that the average Magic player needs to learn is that, like, don't cry over spilt milk. Like, if you get a good creature of yours killed, it's not the end of the world. You know, don't mope to me about it. It's the name of the game. But Miles Morales isn't going to teach anybody any hard lessons other than I'm about to beat you. I'm going to put counters on all my creatures and we're all going to beat the heck out of you. So, Mr. Negative.
I don't know who this is,
He's
but
a pessimist, clearly.
And I'm gonna just say it, a weeb.
I believe he's Asian, actually. He is Asian. So,
Oh, never mind then.
but he is prominently featured in the Spider-Man video games, the ones that won all kind of awards in the last few years.
Oh,
Yeah, I believe he like set a bunch of super villains free from prison, and so he's like the main guy at the top of the food chain. But anyway, what does he do?
we got a 5/5 human villain for 5 mana, a white and a black, with vigilance and lifelink, and something called Dark Force Inversion. When Mr. Negative enters, you may exchange life totals with a target opponent. If you lost life this way, draw that many cards.
This is
Okay.
super interesting. Because, of course, if you can swap life totals with somebody else, the dream is you're at like 1, and you play this, and then your opponent becomes at 1, and you have their life total. Great. But then that would suck if, like, a black-white deck, all that your commander does is just wait until you're almost dead, and you try to gauge it, while this is in the command zone, and everyone knows that that's what you're doing, and you try to drop it to swap somebody. And the whole game, you're just waiting for that moment, and it never comes because your opponents are playing around it. Instead, though, the other way, if you are at a low life total, if you're at a higher life total because you're playing a black-white deck that can gain lots of life, you can give a higher life total to your opponents, and you draw a bunch. A bunch. I was saying before how Doc Ock's ability to draw like 8 cards is really powerful. This guy can draw even more, and he's not blue. And he's got vigilance and lifelink, so he will gain you that life back. This is a big beater. We talked about the pillars here, and he has potential as a finisher, considering he's starting as a 5/5. That's a good starting point. But the main thing is he has card draw, and he can draw you a lot of cards. Or he can just put someone to like 3 out of nowhere. So, but what do you build around him with that? I think a lot of things that involve paying life. Honestly, I think this guy's pretty good. 7 mana is still a lot, though, so I don't know. I think I'm gonna put him at the top of Solid Commander. You know what? No, he does something really unique. I'm putting him in Excited. Nobody does that.
True.
That's exciting. MJ Rising Star. I love this.
All right, we've got a 2/3 human performer for 2 mana with a white for vigilance. And whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on MJ.
So, in theory, this is a worse card than the other MJ because she costs more mana, is monocolored, and is in the Spider-Man Eternal set where the cards are simpler. So she has vigilance and it's spelled all out for you, and her mechanic is simply you gain life, you put counters on her. And yet, I'm gonna put her in the bottom of solid commanders because this ability, whenever you gain life, has so many ways of triggering.
True.
I showed you earlier that Soul Sister, and we can also see Soul Attendant. You can play like 5 cards that are basically this. Whenever another creature enters, you may gain 1 life. And then MJ becomes the 50-foot tall woman. Okay? With vigilance. With vigilance. I mean, one of the most important things you can have if you put all your eggs in one basket is the ability to attack with them and still also block with them. So you get offensive and defensive benefits from what you've been doing. Plus, you don't even have to block half the time. You can just take the hit because you've been gaining life like crazy. And mono white deck is going to be the best color for doing that anyway. So you can build a mono white life gain deck. And then you got the biggest lady you've ever seen beating people up with, and that's what I want to do. So I'm tempted, honestly, to put her even higher. But
I think that's bias talking.
It is bias talking. Personally, I'm excited, but she would be the worst card. You know what? No, I'm not gonna lie. I'm putting her in excited,
and
that's my
folks.
bias. What?
I tried, folks.
Yeah, that may be my bias. But I'm going to be playing Attack of the 50-foot tall woman, okay? Prepare yourselves.
That is pretty interesting.
I kind of want to get, like, this art and blow it up to, like, the size of a piece of paper and, like, print it out. And then when I start putting counters on her, just surprise my opponents by pulling this out of my backpack and dropping, like, a gigantic version of MJ on the field.
Get it in a thicker... thicker kind of paper, make it into a standee.
Exactly, and be like, ba-bum! I'll do that when she gets 21 counters, or when she's at 21 power, because then she's lethal with a single hit. This is the single hit lethal woman. Moving on to someone who's not near as hot. Or maybe hotter, depending on how you look at it. Molten Man Inferno Incarnate.
A 0/0 elemental villain for 2 and a red. When Molten Man enters, search your library for a basic mountain card, put it on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. Molten Man gets 1/1 for each mountain you control. Okay, so as long as you've got more than 3 mountains out there, then you're passing the vanilla test.
Mm-hmm.
And when Molten Man leaves the battlefield, sack a land.
Yeah, so the default way of playing this would be a mono mountain deck where, if not every land in your deck is a mountain, then almost every land in your deck is a mountain. You might play Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle. Older Magic players will know this one, and perhaps modern players will know Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle. If you could read this one for us.
Let's see. It enters the battlefield tapped. And whenever a mountain enters the battlefield under your control, if you control at least 5 other mountains, you may have Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle, deal 3 damage to target creature or player.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tap it to add mountain to your mana pool.
So every land that you play becomes Lightning Bolt for free, in addition to being a mountain.
Ooh.
So yeah, you probably play Valakut and maybe 1 or 2 other non-mountain lands, and then all of your other lands are mountains. And I don't think we've ever seen a card that says like 3 mana, when it enters, you go get a mountain and put it on the battlefield tapped. This is a green thing. Farhaven Elf. This is pretty much Farhaven Elf, but in red and bigger. Because I play this in decks to this day in some cases. And this is in red. Red never does that. So odds are when you cast him, he's a 3/3, but then he enters, go gets you another mountain, and he's a 4/4. That's, beating the vanilla test. And okay, he does have the drawback when he leaves the battlefield, sacrifice a land. Well, don't do that. Also, you can play some stuff like Crucible of Worlds to play the lands back again or something like that. Maybe you have some other effect that benefits that. So he is ramp, but I think he's better than the 99. He probably goes somewhere around here because he gets you the one land ramp one time, but he doesn't need to be in your command zone to do that. He could be in the 99 and he doesn't draw you cards. He doesn't do removal. He's just got keyword big again. He doesn't have menace, no evasion, no defensive abilities. And other than that, he just grows. And how does he still have shorts? How does he still have shorts?
For
Like,
modesty reasons.
the Hulk is one thing. His shorts are stretchy. This seems unlikely.
Protect his modesty, of course.
Now we have the best card in the set. Obviously going straight up to the top. Morbius, it's Morbin time.
Oh, God.
The living vampire. What does he do?
Well, he's a 3/1 vampire scientist villain.
Mm-hmm.
And he costs 2 mana, plus a blue and a black. And you get flying, vigilance, and lifelink. Standard vampire kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And for a blue and a black, you exile this card from your graveyard, and then look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them in your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order.
Okay. I am so serious right now. He's a solid commander. And here's why. First off, he fails the vanilla test pretty hard, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, love that for him. It's funny that way, right? But that means that you can cram in more stuff in here because he's got like no toughness. Well, just, don't have him rumble with anybody. He's got flying. He doesn't need to fight anyone he doesn't want to. One or all of your opponents are vulnerable to flying at any given time. Vigilance, actually, that probably doesn't matter either because blocking with him is like an admission of defeat.
Yeah.
And lifelink, that's actually really good. 3 mana flying lifelink as your commander, that's a reliable life gain engine. And actually, here's what the vigilance is for. He has this 2 mana ability to exile him from your graveyard. The vigilance is how he gets in your graveyard. Because you attack with him, you gain 3 life, and then you block with him, you gain 3 more life, he dies. Then you do his thing, where you look at the top 3 cards, you draw one of them, and then you put him back in the command zone, and then you cast him again, and then you gain like 6 life, hit your opponents a couple of times, and then you do this graveyard shenanigan again. That's a pretty good sequence.
This just sounds like surveilling with extra steps.
It is, but where you're also gaining 6 life and hitting your opponents for some flying commander damage along the way.
All right.
And having that in the command zone, I think, is the best place for him. You could maybe have some other vampire synergies in blue-black. That's kind of unusual. Not many blue vampires. There aren't any scientist synergies, I don't think. There are a few villain ones. This might be a good commander, kinda.
All right, then.
And that's funny. Now we have this guy I know nothing about.
I got nothing either.
I've never heard of him. Morlun, Devourer of Spiders. Well, that sounds bad.
We've got a 2/1 vampire villain for X mana and 2 blacks.
Mm-hmm.
He's got lifelink. Morlun enters with X +1/+1 counters on him. And when Morlun enters, he deals X damage to target opponent.
Oh no. Oh no. Okay, so I'm going to get political here.
Uh-oh.
Okay, you guys didn't expect this, but for years I had literal MAGA as one of my favorite commanders.
Oh.
And the name is Traitor to Mortals, which has only gotten funnier over the years.
Oh my god.
Depending on the level of irony that you're operating at. And I'm just going to say it right now, I do think that MAGA is a traitor to mortals. Okay, that's where I stand. I'm putting my foot down on that one. And, maybe I shouldn't be, but I don't care. That's my truth.
I'm Pretty sure that's a popular opinion nowadays.
Depends on where you are, but that is my truth. And what he does though mechanically is X black black black, so similar to Morlin, which is X black black. He enters with X plus 1 counters on him. He enters with X plus 1 counters on him. When he enters, target player loses life equal to the number of counters on him. When he enters, he deals X damage to target opponent, where X is the number of counters you just put on him. It's the same card, but for 1 black mana less, he has lifelink and starts off as a 2/1 instead of a 0/0. Maga Trader to Mortals has been obsolete. Usurped. It's absolutely obsolete in the face of Morlin, a character that I don't know anyone who knows, who seems really like uninteresting, like unremarkable, totally forgettable, and yet strictly superior to Maga. So, I played Maga Trader Immortal as a mono black, like a big black deck is what I called it, my big black deck. Commander for years. And that deck got a little less interesting over the years because big black became a very common thing to do in black. Because you can play Cabal Coffers. Everybody knows Cabal Coffers. If you're watching a Commander video, you know Cabal Coffers and Urborg and things that search it up. You can play well, you can play the Extort Ghost that doubles your swamps. There's a lot of different things you can do. So all that said, I think Morlin, I'm personally not excited, but I think he's the most solid commander of the not excited ones.
Makes sense to me.
Kind of a boring theme, but he does it way better. And I'll tell you, actually, the secret of the Morlin deck, of the Maga deck, of the big black deck, is that your commander is the finisher. And not in the sense that most are, where it's like, oh, I play a big creature and then I attack you a couple of times.
Nope,
No.
it's he shows up, someone dies.
Yes. You double your mana, you double your mana, you double your mana, and then you cast him and someone dies. And then if you have Lightning Greaves, someone else also dies, and you gain like 30. That's what you do. You have a mono black deck where you do powerful plays, just haymakers for days, and then when you run out of steam, you annihilate somebody. So, I think it's good. Am I excited? It's actually not the most exciting thing, but cool. Mysterio, Master of Illusion.
Okay, we got a human villain, a 3/3 human villain for 3 mana and a blue. And when Mysterio enters, create a 3/3 blue illusion villain creature token for each non-token villain you control. Exile those tokens when Mysterio leaves the battlefield.
I want to love this card because it is actually really cool, and Mysterio is one of my favorite
He's one of the fun Spider-Man villains.
Yeah, and I like what is happening here at first. I like the flavor of, like, suddenly having a bunch of illusionary copies of Mysterio to fight. That's neat and all, except he doesn't have Flash, so it's not going to be a surprise in that sense. It's in the command zone in a lot of cases, so it's not going to be a surprise in that sense. And when he enters, you do make a bunch of illusion tokens, but it's for each non-token villain you control, so you have to be playing a villain deck in order for this to do anything, and those tokens leave when he leaves. So I was thinking, what do you do with him if he only triggers when he enters, not when he enters or attacks, or when he attacks, or at the beginning of your end step, or something like that. Just when he enters, I was like, oh, maybe you bounce him and replay him. Maybe you flicker him. No, if you do any of those things, he leaves the battlefield and you exile all the tokens. Maybe you're playing an illusion deck? Well, no, you have to be playing a villain deck in order to get any illusions at all. And he doesn't have ward, or flying, or hexproof, or anything like that. It's frustrating. Is he better in the 99? Maybe he's better in the 99. And the only time where he's better in the 99 is when you're doing the villain deck.
Yeesh, this set is practically begging you to make a Sinister Six deck.
Oh, it is. So I'm actually going to put him at the bottom of better in the 99 because
Ouch.
There's one theme of deck that he goes in, and I'm not sure how good he even is in it. But what was it? The other Doc Ock up here that says your villains get +2/+2. That's you put him in that deck. But how many blue villain commanders are there that are worth making a blue villain deck? Well, this ain't one of them. I missed. Ooh, here's a blue villain.
Ah.
Perhaps the most like antagonistic villain in the Spider-Man franchise.
All right.
Norman Osborn.
A 1/1 human scientist villain that you cast for 1 mana and a blue. Norman Osborn can't be blocked.
Just not at all.
Whenever Norman Osborn deals combat damage to a player, he connives. That is, drawing a card and then discarding a card. If you discarded a non-land card, put a 1/1 counter on this creature.
May I just say that a 1/1 that can't be blocked and has connive every time that it hits is really good.
That is good.
So far, this
That's
is the
a good little
best
engine.
of the front-facing cards, as well as you're going to see here the flavor of Norman being the conniver works perfectly as we transform for Grixis mana
And 1 generic.
into
The Green,
Green
Goblin,
Goblin.
baby. All right, we got a 3/3 Goblin human villain for 1 mana and blue, black, red with flying and menace. Spells you cast from your graveyard cost 2 less to cast. And our ability here is the Goblin formula. Each non-land card in your graveyard has Mayhem. Mayhem cost is equal to its mana cost.
Oh my. Okay, so remember how the front face sets up the back face on each of these? Except this is one of the few where the front face is actually a pretty good commander all on its own, considering that whether your commander is Norman Osborn or Green Goblin, it's kind of always both, and it's a Grixis commander either way. And every game that you play, you can choose when and if you want to play Norman or the Green Goblin. And if you play Norman, you can flip them later. So very versatile, scarily versatile. It's almost like having 2 commanders.
Yeah.
And then setting up, that conniving means that you're going to be drawing and discarding cards, which sets up Mayhem.
Yep.
Because the discarded cards will now have Mayhem costs. Keep in mind that you can only cast a spell for its Mayhem cost the turn that it is discarded. But it does mean that you could potentially attack somebody with Norman, hit them, connive, get a card into the graveyard, then pay the 4, flip him, and then cast the spell from the graveyard that turn. Oh, and if you do, it costs 2 mana less to cast. Oh, and what's that? Your cards don't need to have the Mayhem ability built in. This gives it to them. Also, those 2 things are not connected. It doesn't only give you a discount on Mayhem cards that you cast from the graveyard.
Just 2 less in general.
For any spells you cast from the graveyard, that counts Flashback, Jumpstart, not Rebound. There's a bunch of different stuff that this counts.
Any
This
other
commander-
skullduggery you might want to commit.
This commander is pretty incredible. Not to mention, just like a 4 mana 3/3 with flying and menace is pretty solid. If you do want to throw on some +1 counters, some equipment or something like that, it wouldn't go amiss. It'd be fine. But he's an engine in addition to flying around and bopping people. So
I think this should be an exciting one.
absolutely, I agree with you. How exciting? I mean, like there.
Ooh.
That's how exciting.
Close to the top.
I don't even like discarding cards, but part of the reason I don't like discarding cards is because I have to pick which ones that I lose forever, and I hate making that decision. But with this, I might be able to pick which ones I lose just for a minute.
How far have we been going?
Let's see.
Like how much?
Oh, like how much time? We are another almost hour and a half into it. I think we are due for another break, and let's see. Do we think that we can get through one more row, or do we want to call it here for part 2?
I think I'd like to call it here for part 2.
All right, that's fair.
We're about 2/3 of the way through, so
And next time we'll pick up with Peter and all the cards that have the word spider in the name, which, like, holy crap.
there will be a lot.
There will be a lot!
We're gonna say spider so many times that the word is gonna go weird on us.
Spider, I barely knew her. What
Spider, I hardly know her.
Oh, geez. Spider as big as a dinner plate. All right. Well, I hope you've had fun with us today, yapping about Spider-Man characters that we know and Spider-Man characters we don't know, trying to figure out how good they are. I'm having fun, but I think we'll need to catch you in the next one.
Shouldn't take too long.
See you soon.
Bye bye.